Continuing with the meditations from the Vigyan Bhairava Tantra. So I'll just read the verse, explain it a little bit, and then maybe go a little deeper. In both the inner and outer spaces of the breath, in that pause, pure awareness exists. Okay, so the practice also says if you follow the inflow and the outflow of the breath, you'll become convinced that the air outside and the air in your body is the same. But the space outside and the space inside is also the same. The water outside, the oceans, the circulation of the planet and your circulation is the same. The colors, forms that you see so-called out there and in your imagination are also the same. But here's the actual deeper understanding. And the deeper understanding is there's no inside and there's no outside. The physical body is a perceptual experience through the creation of boundaries, and those boundaries in turn are the vrittis, the fluctuations of consciousness itself. In the same way as a whirlpool is the vrittis, you might say, the fluctuations of movement of the water. A whirlpool is a changing pattern of the ocean or river or whatever you want to call it, but it is actually the ocean, and it is a changing, evolving pattern and changes. So the fundamental mistake of the intellect here is that you think you're a body-mind experiencing the universe, but actually your body-mind is the universe experiencing itself as that changing pattern of the universe's behavior. And the universe is not physical. It's a formless, timeless, irreducible, infinite field of awareness, non-conceptualizable and not perceivable, but knows itself through perception and conception as all this and this. So this, the body, mind, this, and the universe it's experiencing as a species and cultural mode of knowing is a changing, evolving pattern in a non-local consciousness. And you are that. You're, as body-mind, you're the transforming, changing, evolving complex of what we humans call body, mind, and universe as a unified process, as awareness curves back within itself, prakritim swambashtabhai, vishrajami punapana, curves back within itself to create a particular species and culture-specific mode of knowing and experience. Please pay attention to this, because today I am going to address, and I hope convince you, that the astonishing hypothesis that was proposed by Crick, Francis Crick, the Nobel laureate who discovered, along with Watson and others, the code of life, which we otherwise call the double helix or DNA, that is the source of all information that structures biology. And Francis Crick was actually a brilliant physicist, neuroscientist, and biologist. But what he said in his paper, The Astonishing Hypothesis, is the following. A person's mental activities are entirely due to the behavior of nerve cells, glial cells, and the atoms, ions, and molecules that make them up and influence them. Francis Crick argued that consciousness is a physical, explicable function of the human brain and that we can study it scientifically by focusing on visual awareness. He also challenged the traditional views of philosophy, psychology, religion, and the nature of the mind and the soul. So that's the astonishing hypothesis, which was never actually proven, and it still exists as the hard problem of consciousness. So let me propose to you another astonishing hypothesis that in a way updates Crick's hypothesis. And I hope Christoph Koch, you're listening or watching this, or maybe I'll send it to you, because this is something that contradicts your view as well, I think, although recently I noticed that you've become a panpsychist. Even that is a problem because it assumes the existence of a substance called matter. But I know you were a colleague and you worked with Francis Crick, so I'm going to send you this video for your comments. But that astonishing hypothesis is wrong. So let me propose an updated astonishing hypothesis. Wrong in my view, I should say. Okay, so here's the updated astonishing hypothesis. And, as we explore the Vigyan Bhairava Tantra, we'll get there, but I'm giving you a prelude to what you'll discover slowly, experientially. But let's address a simple question. Where is experience happening for you right now? Where is the experience of your body, mind, and the world happening to you right now? Okay, so ask yourself, first of all, what are the modalities of experience that constitute all perception and cognition? Those modalities of experience are, of course, sound. So ask yourself, first of all, is there such a thing as an unheard sound? It even sounds like a ridiculous question. What would an unheard sound sound like? Is there such a thing as an unseen color, shape, or form? If such a thing existed, an unseen color, shape, or form, what would it look like? Just like what would an unheard sound like? What would an unseen color, shape, or form look like? You see, the question itself is ridiculous. And then we can take any other experience. What is an untasted flavor, an unsmelled fragrance, an unfelt sensation, an unexperienced emotion, or a unthought thought. So you see, it's very obvious that what we call sensations, sense perceptions, images, feelings, thoughts are actually modifications of awareness knowing itself as that particular experience. And actually, none of the things that I mentioned, color, sound, form, fragrance, flavors, sensations, thoughts, images, emotions, none of these actually can be found as properties of the physical world. None of them can be found. So right now you're having an experience as a combination of these modalities of knowing and experience, and actually giving meaning to them. So as you give meaning to them, you say that's a painting, those are books, that's a physical body, these are glasses, that's a nose, these are teeth, but that is actually a human perception and an interpretation of modalities of sensations, period. And those sensations are actually creating the experience of boundaries which don't really exist at the deepest level. No boundaries. So the formless is modifying itself as form and phenomena, and the form is always a phenomenon. It's the fluctuation of vrittis, or you might say prakriti in Sankhya or Shakti, or just fluctuations, perturbations, vibrations of consciousness knowing itself as that, this and all that. So no inside, no outside. Prakritam swavam vashtavai vishrajami puna puna, going back to the original text, going back within myself, I create again and again. And also, I am the field, kshetra, and I'm the knower of the field. So we've explored that before. But now, let's take this experience a little further and be shocked by it. Where is this experience that you're having right now? Watching your computer, listening to my voice, seeing the image on your screen. Where is this happening? Okay, and as we've said, no colors, no sounds, no textures, no smells, no flavors, no thoughts, no feelings, no emotions can be found in the brain. In fact, the brain itself is a combination of those modalities of knowing and experience. So where is this experience happening? Right down. And it's happening in formless consciousness, which is outside of space-time. So you right now, as a conscious being, not as a body-mind, are projecting the experience of body-mind and universe from outside of space and time. This experience. This is my astonishing hypothesis. Christoph, please listen, and I'll send this video to Don Hoffman, who will be more sympathetic to this as well. And I know you both know each other, so it'll be an interesting exercise for us to reflect on this astonishing hypothesis. And that astonishing hypothesis is that you, as a conscious agent outside of space-time, are now at this what we call now, you are conceiving, constructing, governing, and becoming the entire universe, along with that which you call your body-mind, as a pattern of behavior of yourself outside of space-time. In other words, every experience is being processed outside of space-time. And that includes the experience of your body, your mind, and the universe. Well, how mind-boggling is that you, the real you, is not in space-time and has never left space-time. And from that space, non-local domain of awareness, which is formless, eternal, is never born, never dies, from that you're projecting a changing pattern of knowing and experience that we call body, mind, and universe, which is uniquely yours. I was just walking on the streets of New York City, and every person I saw was a walking universe, experiencing a unique pattern of behavior, of awareness, knowing itself as that and all that. So you have never left home. You have always existed outside of space-time, and you continue to actually conceive, construct, govern, and become the universe and the changing pattern of that, evolving pattern of that, just like the whirlpool that I mentioned earlier. So you have never been born, you never died, never born, never gone, and yet projecting experience in the theater of space-time and causality. If you can get this insight and this experience, and that's the whole goal of the Vigyan Bhairava Tantra, then you're totally free from what are called mistakes of the intellect, that create the notion of a physical world, and therefore the original astonishing hypothesis of Francis Crick is actually based on naive realism, which of course assumes a subject-object split, assumes matter as the ontological primitive, and assumes the theater of space-time and causality as fundamental, when in turn they're all projections of yourself. So, aham brahmasmi, more to come.